Coming up, Disney Cruise Line cancels their very first cruise on the updated Disney Magic. SeaWorld has a float in the Macy's parade, financial trouble for Disneyland-style park in Poland, and there's an expansion plan for Orlando International Airport. We also have our segment on drinks around the world at the Yacht and Beach Club and the Swan and Dolphin. That's up next on the Diz Unplugged. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode 654 for the week of October 22nd, 2013. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney World, Disneyland, Adventures by Disney, and Disney Cruise Line vacations. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Well, hello and welcome to the Diz Unplugged, everyone. Coming to you live from the Bob Varley studio here in Orlando, Florida. I am your host, Dustin West, filling in this week for Pete Werner, who is in the kitchen right now, cooking up a whole lot of food. I think everybody that is in Orlando that has anything to do with us is going to be here later today.
Mixing things in bowls.
Yeah.
Squeezing his pepper.
Yeah. So while he's prepping for that, we're going to have a good time later on. I am filling in as host. I'm also joined at the table today by John Magi, Kevin Close, Sean Thompson, Corey Martin, and back in the production nook, we have our associate producer, Craig Williams, on the controls.
Looking sad as ever.
Looking very lonely and sad. Aw.
That's great.
So what happened in the beginning there, Craig? We had a black screen for quite a while.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what has to happen.
Sometimes.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's what I meant to do. Yeah, that's a
15
ticket.
seconds. Yeah. And then my phone went off. That was a good time. Yeah, I got my family is in town. My parents are in town, and they're going to come over today, and we're all going to hang out, have some good grilling food. I know Pete's working his butt off in there, and we're going to have a good time. So I'm excited about that.
Pete's niece and nephew are here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I was surprised to find them in the kitchen being put to work.
So that's fun. I'm excited for that. But we do have some housekeeping. We've had a lot of things going on this week, so we got a lot to talk about in rapid fire and housekeeping. A whole lot of stuff going on. The first thing I want to mention is coming up very, very shortly is the Delaware meet on November 1st. So just make sure you check that out. You can see who all is going out at dizboards.com. If you go to the Diz Unplugged page, you can see the Delaware meet and all the information for that.
Yeah, we have it on our show notes page. And just to clarify, whenever we say show notes page, that's usually dizunplug.com.
Right.
So if you go to our main site, you can see that we have a whole bunch of links for the show notes. Every week has an individual post, so you can just go to the individual show page, and then that's where our links are. So I think some people get confused when we say show notes, but
okay.
Dizunplug.com.
Very cool.
Yep.
Also, just want to briefly mention the Disneyland version of our show.
Oh. And which one of them is the Disneyland Virgin?
I'm
guessing most of them.
Oh, man. Meow.
Tom, you'll have to...
Now we have an East Coast, West Coast going on.
I meant to say the Disneyland version of the Diz Unplugged. If you visit dizunplugged.com, you'll see links to their show. You can also go to iTunes and subscribe to their feed, the Disneyland version of the Diz Unplugged. This week, Jack Bergen joins Michael Bowling and his wife Carol to discuss the new disability access service now that all the changes are in place for the guest assistance cards and whatnot out in Disneyland. So you can learn more about that. Also, Allison Henry returns for more personalized planning tips for her upcoming holiday vacation. So all of that, again, is at dizunplugged.com, and you can subscribe on iTunes for the audio version of their show, the Diz Unplugged Disneyland edition.
Last week, Tony did a review of Blue Bayou, and he mentioned the waiter's name a lot. And of course, Tom had to find the most obnoxious sound possible.
What was it?
He used the clown horn. I was listening, and I was driving, and every time that he mentioned the name of the waiter, the clown horn went off, and I jumped in the car because it was so loud. Yeah.
How come he's not allowed to mention the name of the waiter?
I think it was an unfavorable review, so he kind of
We don't want to game my fire.
protecting the...
Gotcha.
I don't know what.
Anonymity of that person.
Sure.
That's funny.
Yeah.
The clown horn. Well, there you go. So I know before we move on, I know you guys wanted to mention something that we've been working on. So if you guys want to take that.
Yeah, Dizapalooza coming up very soon, and we are selling shirts for the event. A lot of people have been asking us for shirts for the event, so we're going to be we have shirts available starting today. These are pre-order, so if you want a shirt, pre-order, prepay, and then we'll make sure you get your shirt. We are going to have women's versions of the shirt. So we're going to have a link, unless you want to tell them the link.
Yeah, I'll do both. So we're gonna have a link in the show notes page. So it'll be easy to find. It'll be on YouTube everywhere. You can look to see it. But if you just want to, I'll just say it now. It's the-diz.myshopify.com. So THE-DIS.myshopify.com. But like I said, it'll be everywhere, so you'll be able to find it.
What we'll also do is we'll share that to the folks who are actually going to the meet. We've got an email list, so we'll blast that out to everybody, and also we'll put it in the post.
Yeah, and just to specify, I don't know if you mentioned it, but you can have it shipped to your address, or you can do the option for free shipping, and you can pick it up at the event itself.
Oh, cool.
Which makes it a little easier. So, yeah, I'm excited.
There are two color variations. There's a white and there's a blue. So take your pick. So pick both if you want.
The design of that is so cool. I love the
It's fun.
Toy
It's
Story
definitely fun.
inspiration there. Really cool. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to see a whole bunch of people wearing those.
Oh, yeah, I
That'll
hope
be
so.
fun.
Yeah.
So, does anybody else at the table have anything they want to add to housekeeping?
I do.
Okay.
Several of us are going to be on the Disney Magic this upcoming week.
Right.
And to the best of our ability, depending on Wi-Fi, we'll try to do some tweeting and some live pictures and some live reporting. So try to watch us for that. I don't know what's going to happen. We've gotten the schedule from Disney Cruise Line, and
But
pretty
it's
much
very
like,
vague.
right?
Yeah, it is.
Show up and leave.
Tells us the date.
That's pretty much it.
I think,
So-
John, you're going to do the aqua dunk, and that's about it.
I am.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to videotape it from the bottom.
Oh, good.
Pretty. So just check us out. I don't know when it's going to be or what we're going to have a chance to do, but we'll try to keep you informed.
I hope we have nice weather for it.
We should.
We're getting into that part of year where the rainstorms don't.
I was listening to the
crazy.
news today, and they talked about Hurricane Lorenzo. However, it's out in the middle of the Atlantic, and then they said the words everybody was looking to hear. It's not coming anywhere near land.
Yeah.
So we should be safe.
Lorenzo. That's a cool name. Okay, so I just have to mention one more thing. I apologize if I'm frazzled because when I came here today, I had to change a flat tire, so I was running late.
Oh, no.
Just wanted to
Was it
mention
yours?
It was. Yeah, I didn't change a random.
It could have been a really good story.
Was it on the side of I-4?
No, it was in the parking lot of a 7-Eleven. Anyway, I knew I was going to be hosting today, so I was trying to get here really early, and that just didn't happen.
Actually, I think I had traffic issues too. I-4 was closed
Yeah.
because of a crime scene. I guess there was a hit and run.
Because someone changing a tire.
Because Dustin was changing a tire, yeah. But yeah, so we got here in time.
Cool. All right, well, I guess that's it for everybody for housekeeping.
That's it for me.
Yeah,
Me
cool.
too.
Cool. Well, John, I know we have quite a few news stories, so why don't we get started with
All right. Our first one. Disney Cruise Line cancels first Disney Magic sailing after rehab. Disney Cruise Line canceled their first sailing of the newly reimagined Disney Magic last week, just days before the ship was set to leave port. On October 17, 2013, cruisers scheduled for the 10:20 sailing of the Disney Magic, fresh out of dry dock and rehab, received word that their cruise would be canceled due to incomplete works. Part of the letter to guests read, quote, "As you may know, the Disney Magic has just undergone the most significant transformation in the history of Disney Cruise Line. Unfortunately, during the course of dry dock renovations and the transatlantic crossing, we encountered challenging weather conditions that made the necessary work impossible to complete in time for the first cruise. As a result, we made the difficult decision to cancel the October 20th, 2013 5-night sailing from Miami, Florida. Cruisers were offered compensation in the form of a full refund of their voyage fare, plus a complimentary sailing up to 5 nights in length on the Disney Magic when sailing from Miami or Port Canaveral before May 16th, 2014. This complimentary sailing is subject to availability and offered in the same category stateroom with the same party mix originally booked. Cruisers who were unable to take advantage of the complimentary cruise offer were then offered to sail at a 35% future cruise discount on any Caribbean or Bahamian sailing up to 7 nights in length taken by October 31st, 2015, excluding holiday and peak sailing dates. In addition, Disney Cruise Line paid all airfare change and cancellation fees for those passengers affected. This seems small consequence to many families who had planned for this sailing and or for those who had begun traveling as part of their vacation.
Wow.
It was rough. It was rough for us as travel agents. A lot of really sad phone calls.
Yeah.
This happened days before, not weeks before.
Right.
So there were a lot of phone calls to people who were on airplanes.
Oh my gosh.
And we had to wait till they landed to contact them to tell them it's not going.
Well, what it sounds like, though, is that Disney is handling this the best they can. I mean, they're offering all kinds of,
Their compensation is great.
Yeah.
I think they've done the absolute right thing with their compensation. You're going to get all your money back. You're going to get a future cruise. If you can't take that particular cruise, you're going to get money off another one, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't change the fact that some people have taken time off from work.
Right.
That they probably can never get back. Some people have booked airfare that, well, Disney's going to get their airfare back, but who knows when they can travel again. And again, as Kevin said, we had people in the air. We had people on the ground.
Wow.
Staying at World. So it was tough. One of the things they didn't do, which kind of surprised me, was they didn't extend the offer to Walt Disney World stays. So kind of what they could have done was said, listen, we know you're already here
Right.
for this week. We'll let you stay at Walt Disney World and give you some kind of compensation or work out the pricing that way. But they did
So
not.
what are they
do
just
that.
going to do? Fly the people that want to plane? They're just going to fly back home.
We had some people who turned it into a Walt Disney World vacation, paid for that themselves. We had some people switch to the 10/20 Disney Dream sailing, so they were able to get more time off from work and make that work out.
Yeah.
But a lot of people just had to cancel. We have several who don't know what they're going to do.
And just on top of all that, the canceling of your plans and not knowing what you're going to do. I mean, this was going to be a really special cruise. This was going to be the first on the Magic after all the renovations. So that's kind of disappointing as well. That adds another layer of disappointment. Like, well, we could have been the first.
Absolutely. And you never know what Disney's going to do. Disney's really good about inaugural stuff. And, so maybe they might have offered something special to these guests for being on this cruise, and that, they won't get that back.
From a media standpoint, I'm kind of happy that we are going to be the first ones to see it this week.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of selfish, but it's not going to spoil it for us, seeing pictures.
Corey doesn't care about the children.
Forget the children. We want the first of everything.
All right. So, hopefully people have changed their plans already and are
Right.
back to being normal. All right. Our second news story. PETA protests SeaWorld float in Macy's parade. Animal rights group PETA marched outside the Park Avenue home of Terry Lundgren, chief executive of the Macy's department store chain, last Friday to advocate for the removal of a SeaWorld float in the annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. Last month, SeaWorld Parks and Entertainment announced it would debut a float called A Sea of Surprises in the 187-year-old Macy's event on November 28th. The spectacle, comprised of sculptures of sea turtles, penguins, sharks, and whales rolling on ocean waves, is intended as a tribute to the animal park's 50th anniversary in 2014. PETA is petitioning for the float's removal from the 2-mile-long holiday parade and argues that SeaWorld engages in cruel treatment of marine animals for profit. Macy's said their float was not meant to offend. PETA has taken their disapproval of the SeaWorld Macy's Parade float online, urging people to protest their local Macy's stores. An online petition is also available on PETA's website. And I assume this is an actual picture of the float, or is it
It's a
concept?
photograph. No, it's concept art.
I mean,
Oh, what? I mean, it's actual.
Yes, that's
On a green screen.
That tiny little pop
just
star
made it
singing
blue.
on the.
the weirdest thing is they want people to what? To protest Macy's?
I think it's
Go for the source. Go for
exactly. It
Macy's.
should be the
go for-
SeaWorld. It seems a little ridiculous. They were at the guy's house, the guy
And
that
they're not
works for Macy's.
protesting the horses that are used in the parade
Right.
I
on
know.
city streets. I mean, the problem is they choose these things because of the publicity factor.
Yeah.
They've chosen to take on Macy's because it will get them more notice.
Well, I think the idea is that the person who would have control over the float would be Macy's. Macy's would have the final word to say it can or can't be in their parade. So that's why they went after it. However, there's a part of the story I kind of left out because I couldn't really find exact numbers and information. But PETA never filed for a petition or a license to protest that day. And in New York City, when you don't have a license, you can only have up to 15 people. So imagine
that probably wasn't a problem.
I'm sure there were 14 people protesting at this guy's house.
I know SeaWorld also has a float plan for the Rose Parade, so I don't know if they're going to move their actions towards the Rose Parade people now. I don't know, but
They're going to drag a dead killer whale down the middle of Pasadena Boulevard.
Surprise.
I don't know.
It's just, I'm all for the ethical treatment of the animals.
Absolutely.
However, PETA does things that make me roll my eyes. And I just, I think their clout could be used in more effective ways. I think this is just ridiculous. And I think most people, once they read this, you're protesting SeaWorld on Park Avenue
Yeah.
in front of a department store executive's home. I'm sorry. It just, I'm an animal lover, but that's silly.
All right. Our next news story. $1 billion expansion approved for Orlando International Airport. Apparently, there's a black screen behind me. The Greater Orlando Aviation Authority, or GOAA, approved the plan for a $1 billion plus expansion at Orlando International Airport. The first stage of the expansion includes a $470 million multi-part project, including a new automated people mover, a 5,000 space parking garage, and other improvements to baggage and existing terminals. GOAA Chairman Frank Gruppenbacher said the airport was an economic engine and needs to be ready to accommodate Central Florida's growth. The expansion isn't expected to be completed for several years, but it's starting to address the airport's growth need for parking and transportation accommodations. Quote, "We are building this to allow us to operate a 40 million passenger and more stress level while we build to expand the airport's overall passenger threshold," Brown said. Construction is expected to start after the airport hits 6 straight months of more than 40 million passengers on a rolling 12-month schedule.
What they need to do is move it closer to everything.
Well, if they keep expanding it, it's going to be right here in my backyard.
Airport
40
suburbs.
million people.
And what's that from? What's it at now?
I don't know what it's from now. I don't have the numbers now, but that's what they're projecting is going to pass through that airport a year.
Oh my gosh.
it's crazy.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah. These changes sound really good. More parking.
Yeah.
The people mover sounds interesting. I don't know how exactly that work or where it would take you to and from, but
I would imagine it'd be kind of like Universal if it's going to and from the
Like at
parking
City
lot.
Walk?
Yeah.
Even in a big airport,
Disney needs that down Main Street.
I would prefer the people mover prod, which are sort of shock people. We've seen that in bigger airports, though, or other
Yeah.
airports
Yeah.
where they have
Yeah.
the moving sidewalks. I think that's
there are
what
some
that
of them
means.
I guess, through the main terminal, maybe.
Yeah.
In the
'Cause there are
shopping
some of
area,
them.
there's
Yeah.
they have them.
And there's some down when you park in the parking garage and then go through the tunnel underneath.
Like at Atlanta, when you go from terminal to terminal, they have the people movers.
They have that
'cause
train.
I've
They have a
run through
train,
those
yeah.
things before.
As someone who has traveled to many different airports all over the place, all over the country, I mean, in my opinion, the last airport that needs a $1 billion expansion for efficiency is Orlando. But I'm not
Orlando's
going to
one of our
complain.
favorite airports. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the best run. It's the cleanest. It's the easiest to get around.
We always ask ourselves, is it because we know Orlando Airport or is it just more time effective?
Yeah.
I think it's probably both, but
I think it's
it
more
definitely
effective.
is really effective, yeah.
So what does this expansion mean? Does it mean it's become more complicated? Because you got to think if they're going to build another parking facility
Right.
somewhere else, and then more terminals.
No, if you want to talk about complicated, let's talk about downtown Disney. Sorry, switch topics and you go.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens and how it plays out. But I think it goes to show that Orlando's a major player in travel in the future. Yeah. All right. And our final news story is my favorite one.
Yeah, mine too.
Polish Disneyland files bankruptcy. Adventure World Warsaw which began construction in 2012 and was supposed to be a major economic boost to the centrally located European country and was supposed to be the, quote, Polish Disney, has filed for bankruptcy.
That picture looks like Jurassic Park or something.
It actually kind of looks like a regular Disney park until you get close and you see like bratwurst ride and things like that. According to Polsky Radio, the park has filed papers for bankruptcy as the company was unable to complete the park and pay the creditors. Quote, "It is with great sorrow that I declare that I have signed an application for the bankruptcy of AWW and its subsidiary firms," Peter Jan Mulder said. The park was going to employ 3,000 people in the city of Grodzisk, which is located just south of the Polish capital of Warsaw. Despite many attempts, it was not possible to build and finance the amusement park in Grodzisk, Mulder said. This failure seems to be permanent. Adventure World Warsaw was going to be a massive park encompassing 230 hectares, which I think is like a mile, and was budgeted to have a construction cost.
I doubt that. 230 square miles?
230 hectares.
Hectares.
And was budgeted to have a construction cost of 598 million euros, or $12. The park's theme was going to focus on world myths and legends.
I think it's the other way around.
I don't know. My math is good. The park's theme was going to focus on world myths and legends from the Slavics to the ancient Egyptians. Jan Pazio, a member of the town hall in Grodzisk, said there is still hope that some investor may purchase the land and reignite the project.
In other words, burn it down.
Reignite. Well, I remember the pyramids in Poland. That was
Yeah, right.
the ancient Egyptian pyramids in Poland.
I got to tell you, I'm kind of sad that's going away.
I never knew about it until now, and now I'm sad because I want to go.
Right. You
Yeah.
want to go now? You
Just
heard
want to
about
go to
it?
Grodzik.
So a hectare is a unit of measure that is 10,000 square meters. So it's still
Again, I still don't know
it's
how
still
many.
pretty big.
So how many square yards is that? How many square feet? I don't know.
I don't
Divide
know.
by 3.
We were driving in Germany, and it was 30 kilometers back to the city where our hotel was, and there were 4 of us in the cab, and we decided that was 300 miles. Then we decided it was 30 miles. Then John decided it would be better if we turned meters into feet, and then he told us it was like 60,000 feet.
I had trouble with it. Well, trouble.
There were 4 adults in the cabin. We found out that 30 kilometers equals about 12 and a half minutes.
What I liked is that they were going to have certain rides that would be specific to the history of Poland. You know, things like World of Black and White. You know, and stuff like
I like the idea of a historical theme park.
that. Do you now?
I do. I'm trying to move right on past that one. I do like the idea. It's a shame. It really is a shame that they couldn't fund this. But I guess
Well, Disney tried to do those. Disney tried to do an American history park in
Near
Virginia.
Washington, yeah.
Near Washington. And that sort of
Put that photo up again.
bit the dust.
unless you have a roller
Is that an
coaster
actual photo?
riding the
That's
Constitution.
an actual photo.
It's an aerial
Do
photo.
you see the SeaWorld float?
It's so green in Poland.
I wish I could expand it like on your iPhone to like getting close and see.
Poland's the Ireland of Eastern Europe.
They do. They have like a water feature that's like a Mayan temple and
I'm telling you, it's the sausage flume.
the sausage.
All right, well, that'll do it for the very important news this week.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, John, for the interesting Polish news. We're going to move on to rapid fire, and I'm actually going to go first. I have a video game that I found a couple weeks ago. It came out about a month ago, but it's on the consoles, but in the arcade that you can get for Xbox Live Arcade and the PlayStation Network, and they also release it for Windows. It's called Castle of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse. Now, this is a remake of an old Sega Genesis game, and it's taken a few extra steps here. Obviously, the graphics are much better, and you can go around in a more 3D world. But it's one of those really, really classic kind of platforming video games starring Mickey Mouse. And if you're a Disney fan, you're really gonna enjoy this. And the gameplay is really fun. I mean, there's a few things where like the jumping and the controls can be a little aggravating at times, but I thought if you're a Disney fan and you want to kind of get your fix, it's on the Xbox Arcade PlayStation Network. It's like $10 or $15, and
Is it strictly a side scroller, or is it a?
for the most part, it's a side scroller until you get into like the boss battles and then walking around the main castle. So there's one of the boss battles there. It's
It's Michael Eisner.
he's trying to steal Mickey Mouse's money.
Is this footage from you playing, or is this like press-
this is my sad attempt to play
Oh, wow.
a video game. But I I'm not a huge gamer. I don't play that much, but I really found it's a short video game, but you can sit down in a couple nights and play through this, and it's really fun and it's really creative. And again, if you're a Disney fan, it's really gonna. It's really
I like
gonna
how
be good.
nothing else in it is Disney.
Yeah, I don't recognize
like a
anything except for
Crazy
Mickey.
clown battle and the tree stump battle, but
Well, again,
I think the graphics are incredible.
yeah, they really are.
Yeah, it looks great.
I'm also really shocked at the quality. What did you do? Capture that off your TV?
On the computer, I have like where I can capture
That's
the video game.
unbelievable.
Yeah. So it's called Disney's Castle of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse. Again, it's on Xbox Live Arcade, PlayStation Network, and you can also download it for Windows. It's really fun. You guys should check it out. So that's my rapid fire.
Awesome.
So who do we have going next, Craig?
We have John.
John.
All right. Disney Cruise Line has announced a new land and sea package. You can enjoy a Disney Cruise Line and Walt Disney World Resort stay all in one vacation. Package components include a 3-night Disney Magic sailing from January 17th through February 7th, 2014, 3-night resort stay at a Disney resort. The introductory pricing just reflects the all-star resorts, but others are available. You also get a 3-day park hopper, theme park ticket, transfers between Orlando International Airport, Walt Disney World Resort, and Disney Cruise Line Terminal. Packages start at $789 per person for a family of 4. Again, this is with the all-star music resort, so other resorts will be more money. You have to book by December 31st, and again, it's for sailings January 17th through February 7th. Long time ago, we used to have land sea packages all the time with Disney Cruise
I was
Line.
going to say, I thought it was a year-round thing at one point.
Nope, they stopped it a couple years ago, and I think this is going to be very popular. I wish they would do it for other sailings, because not everybody wants to do just a 3-night sailing. I wish they would add it to...
You think this is a test bed?
I do.
Yeah.
I think, especially during this time period, we've seen a lot of discounts come out. I think World is suffering, so what they're trying to do is figure out a way to boost World numbers.
Also, now with the Magic coming back, they're going to have, at least temporarily, they're going to have more ships based out of Florida. So I think this makes a little more sense for them to start offering more of these land sea packages if you've got 3 ships in Florida for the time being.
Also, it tells me too that the Magic's not doing as well as it should during that time frame. You know, they're not offering it on the Dream or the Fantasy, so that tells you something that they're full.
Well, it's about to get a lot of publicity in this coming week from all the websites.
Do you think? I mean, we haven't experienced it yet. Do you think those changes are going to be enough for people to go on a Disney Magic sailing?
You know, I'm hoping I'm excited about it, because after being on the Dream and Fantasy, I haven't been on one of the classic ships since those 2 ships. So, I don't know, how excited I would be to go on one of those ships without all these rehabs. I mean, it's Disney Cruise Line. It's hard to say you wouldn't be excited, but I think these might, the slide alone.
I think there's going to be those folks who want to see it, who want to see the changes, and want to see what's different. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to draw in people. I don't know if people are going to have the choice of where to do it. I think it's more about itinerary at this point. That's how Disney drives it. All right, that's it for my rapid fire.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Welcome.
And then now we have Kevin.
My rapid fire is about Downtown Disney. They have something called Foodtopia. And I am coming to this late, but I just saw the sign the other day. You can order a 3-course meal at one of 7 restaurants. It includes a non-alcoholic beverage, and the 3 courses will be $30 per person. It's Bongo's Cuban Cafe, House of Blues, Paradiso 37, Planet Hollywood, Portobello, Splitsville Luxury Lanes, and Wolfgang Puck Cafe. The option jumps to $60 if you want to eat at Fulton's Crab House. If you make a Foodtopia reservation, you are also allowed 20% on Cirque du Soleil tickets. I think that's kind of a good deal.
Yeah.
3 courses for $30, including a non-alcoholic beverage. And I think it's a good deal. I didn't know about it. I just passed a sign on it the other day.
This
I
seems-
enjoy bongos.
Yeah, the restaurants that you're mentioning here are some of my favorites in downtown Disney.
Well, it's pretty much all of downtown Disney.
Yeah.
There's not a lot out. The Wolfgang Puck restaurant. I mean, the cafe. That's not the upstairs, I guess, is what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Okay.
I just wish there was an Earl sandwich version.
8 sandwiches for $3.
This is
Really?
becoming very popular now. These things, downtown Orlando does it. They have restaurants that participate in it. We went to Bull and Bear the other night. They had a special October tasting menu.
New York City actually does it also. There's a restaurant month. I don't know what month it is. I forget. But New York City does this also. So I think it's kind of a cool thing. It offers you an opportunity to know what your price point is going in.
Right. So I guess how this would work is you'd buy a ticket beforehand and then just go to whichever venue you want.
I actually think it says you make a reservation.
Okay.
Reservation and payments must be made at least 48 hours in advance. So I think when you call up and make your reservation, you're going to pay for the full price.
Wow.
Kind of like you do if you're making,
Hoop-de-doo or
yeah, something like that.
one of those. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
It's a neat way to try some new restaurants. I also have another rapid fire.
Sure.
John and I went to the Food and Wine Classic at the Swan and Dolphin the other night. And we went on Friday night. Friday night and Saturday night have different menus at most of the places.
Okay.
But there was a bunch of people. We ran into people from all over. We ran into a nice man who told us he has a 3-hour drive, Chuck and Tiffany. And Tiffany trains
3-hour drive to work. Every
3-hour
day.
drive commute each way. So we listened. We thought that was far. We thought he should move closer to work. And his wife trains help dogs, not rescue dogs.
Seeing eye
Seeing
or
eye
Seeing eye
dogs,
dogs. Therapy dogs.
Therapy dogs.
We thought that was really cool. Chuck and Tiffany were great, but we met a whole bunch of people. We met people from the UK. It was wonderful. There are several food booths. There was a great deal of wine if you were interested in wine.
Yeah.
There was an amazing amount of alcohol to be had. There were 12 different food booths. Each of the restaurants in the Swan and Dolphin offer something, a taste of something. And it's very much like Food and Wine, but you can purchase a wristband. Wristbands were $80. Or you could buy individual tickets, and things were 2 or 3 tickets depending. Or you could buy a book of 50 tickets, and I forget how much that was. It would tell me in here, but we thought it was great. And we got a great big table, and people came and went as they wanted. So we had a wonderful time. I actually prefer this to Food and Wine.
Now, the weather was good this year, so everything was outside.
Yes, it was not a typhoon like in years past where
Yeah.
the food actually washed away. It rained hard that year.
We thought the food was really good. I thought there was disproportionate wine and alcohol to food.
Too much wine.
Yeah, it usually is that way.
It was
Yeah.
like there was booths and booths
Where there were 12 food booths, I'm going to guess there were 60 wine booths.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And you waited in line for the food, and the wine. I think you waited in line for the food, but the wine booths were empty.
Right.
So you guys don't drink too much. So did you feel like it was a good value just for the food and the kind of the atmosphere? Or?
Yes, we had a good time. It was worth
I like
money.
the idea of not having to pay at each booth. I feel that slows it down a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
I also like the idea that they put out tables for people. So we got a table that we're seating for 12. And someone from our group was always at that table. So it was like, and other people would walk up, and if their seats were empty, they would say, "Do you mind if we sit and eat our stuff?" And of course not. Have a seat.
Did it feel crowded, or did you feel like you had enough tables and seats for everybody?
The tables and seats were fine. That did feel crowded, especially in front of some booths.
I'm sure if like
Todd and-
Shula's.
No, Shula's was actually fast because they didn't give out the big steak this year. They did a slice of steak.
A slice. Todd English had a booth.
He had 2 actually.
Separate from Blue Zoo.
Oh, really?
He was doing his own booth.
Todd English's
Was he
booth.
there?
He was.
Yes. Now here's the deal. I clocked it 8 minutes to get my food at Todd English's booth because he's standing there taking pictures. You can go across the way, dude. Go stand somewhere else. I need to get to my food really fast. Good stuff. He had a tuna tartare. He had an oyster slider, which was weird. But
Sounds great.
In general,
A shrimp taco.
A shrimp taco. In general, the food was very good. I really enjoyed
The one
everything
thing,
I had.
now I've never done the Food and Wine Classic. Obviously, I've done the Food and Wine Festival, but for me, it seems like I would imagine because these restaurants are coming out and representing themselves with their actual staff, that maybe at the Food and Wine Classic over at the Swan Dolphin, the people working the booths might be a little more knowledgeable about their food and wine than
We
maybe
were actually
Epcot.
at Il Molino. We were waited on by Chef Tyler.
Chef Tyler's the gentleman that we interviewed that
Yeah.
day.
So he was out there explaining what he made, taking care to make sure every dish was perfect as it went out.
And that goes the same thing for the wine and the alcohol they serve. Usually there are representatives there from those companies
By the
that
wineries.
that can actually speak about the wine they're serving you and not, okay, that's white and red.
That's really nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I'm upset that this was the first year that we missed it. We couldn't. I mean, it's not I don't see it as an event that you bring children to. So we didn't want to bring the kids.
I don't
and we
think I
couldn't-
saw any kids.
Yeah,
One child.
it's more of an adult event. So we couldn't find a
I
sitter,
can
so
tell
we
you, it
just
was
missed it.
huge this year. You know, it went all the way down where it usually goes between the walkway between the two hotels, then all the way to the left out to where there's no more walkway,
Right.
and then up to the right to where you walk to the boardwalk. As a matter of fact, Kimonos was on a hill. I was like, not only do you have to wait in line, I have to wait in line on the hill.
Well, they have that walkway. They also have those like giant like patches of grass all over the place and all these different things. That's interesting that it's growing that way. Do you think at some point they're going to go to multiple weekends? Or
We've asked them that, and they said there was no plan to do it in any time in the future.
That's a
but-
big setup.
Yeah.
You
It is a big setup,
Keeping all
especially-
those booths there
Right.
for the entire week.
Because that like where Epcot locks and you can leave that
Yeah.
stuff out.
Yeah.
This is the walkway
Set up
between the
and-
two hotels. So we thought there was enough tables. There's also tables for people who just want to stand. So if you're just
Yeah.
grazing,
High tops,
kind of. I think that's. I have to compare it to the Food and Wine Festival. I like the wristband idea.
Yeah.
I think Epcot should go to the wristband idea. I think people would pay a higher price for the opportunity to not have to get out that. Even that little card slows things down. If you could kind of breeze from booth to booth, I think that would.
I'm pretty sure I'd be able to get away with an $80 worth of food at the Food and Wine
Probably
Festival.
more. I guess you'd have to do like
Oh,
100.
It would be more
Completely.
expensive. than-
Yeah, it would be. It would definitely be more. And Disney charges more, I think, but I think for me that makes it easier. It's even easier waiting in line because it's just waiting in line for people to get their food. So all the lines moved fairly
Right.
quickly.
Yeah.
It's almost like a VIP pass just for Food and Wine Festival. So
Right.
you pay a premium, you wear a wristband, and you can go straight up to the
I would
booth.
Just
love
tell them what
that.
you want.
Isn't that
I
amazing?
would too.
I would,
Yeah.
I'd start at 11 a.m.
I also think
See
the
you at
idea of
9.
having places where you can sit. And
Yeah.
again, we had complete strangers come and sit with us, but we kind of made friends with strangers, It starts a conversation. So it's very flexible. And there were some absolute favorites. What was your favorite?
My favorite was Il Molino, was the veal cheek ragu and homemade pasta.
What is a veal cheek?
It's the butt.
Oh, I was thinking of that
I
too.
know.
It's the dimple.
And what's great about it is that if the portions aren't big, you can just go back
Right.
and get more.
Right.
Do they judge you, or is it pretty open?
They actually mark you on your arm.
Yeah,
It's- I'll take the
Everyone's
lot.
judging you, so that's really not a fair question. No, I mean,
no.
there's times when I said, someone's back at the table, he doesn't want to walk up. Can I have two? And they would give you two without a problem.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
met
Nobody would.
one person. The people at Shula's were kind of
Yeah, they were.
you're taking one, and what they did this year was a little scoop of mashed potatoes, and there was a slice of steak. I'm having trouble talking. A slice of steak over the mashed potatoes with a little gravy. In years past, they gave you a little tiny filet mignon.
It was a petite flame mignon.
Wow.
So this had changed. My favorite happened to be kimonos. I thought the sushi was a grade A this
Incredible.
year, and believe it or not, I thought one of the other great dishes was the falafel from the fountain. It was. It had a sauce on it. I thought they were great, and they reminded me of arancini, the little rice balls that you get in some restaurants. Only this was chickpeas.
And if you're a drinker, it's a great way to go and try stuff. Like we had a bunch of wine drinkers, and they would come back and say, "I like this" or "I didn't like this," so they can go up and try.
They
something
have
wanted.
they have wine obviously represented there as beer and liquor, different
Beer-
companies. As
the
well.
beer was there. There's no hard liquor.
There has been in years past.
Yeah, and I know for a fact because I was mixing.
I went one year and they were making something with vodka with cucumber in it, but I didn't. I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't looking for it this
Yeah.
year.
I didn't see it this year. I saw two beer booths.
There was definitely a beer booth, and it seemed that when you went to the wine booths. You could ask for a sip, or they would give you a serving, and a serving was about half a glass. You're provided with a little plastic plate with a divot in it where your wine glass sits, and you were welcome to go back as much as you wanted, but that was what a serving was. The folks that were drinking beer were coming away with full, and now it's still a wine glass, but they were coming away with full servings of beer. So, and I know there was an IPA there, but I don't remember what the name of it was.
I think if I were to do
apologize.
this, I'd have to get a hotel room and just.
You have to. Every time we've done it, you get a hotel
Most
room and
people
you
do, yeah.
you know.
Get a hotel room and like a furniture dolly to roll me out.
I know.
Again, we're not big
So
drinkers,
convenient.
so yeah, we didn't.
We
bother.
drove home.
We drove home. The other thing I want to point out too is they had a band, and they have a band every year. The band was incredible, and usually I don't say that.
It's usually
say
by the big
nuisance.
fountain, right?
That's
They
exactly
cover the
what it
fountain.
was.
Right.
They had lighting effects.
The band is usually down in front of the Dolphin.
Yeah.
And I remember in years past where I thought they not only were not very good, I thought they were tremendously loud. Deafeningly loud, in fact. But this one, the band was not only good, they did cover songs of every popular song. So their repertoire ranged over several different styles. And they had speakers set up all around the party, so it wasn't like they had to be loud in one location. It was piped out to everybody, and it was a nice level. You could still have a conversation and enjoy the music.
I know from experience, and again, I haven't been to the Food and Wine Classic, but I know that the Swan and Dolphin have an excellent events group. They really can throw a party, their lighting, their audio stuff. They do some cool stuff sometimes, depending on whatever the group wants. So.
This was awesome. We had a
Cool.
great time.
I'm glad you guys had a good time. So
It was really fun. I would recommend it to anybody, and I think that people are taking notice of it. Saturday night sold out very early.
Yeah.
Only Friday night was available. So if you want to go, you do have to keep that in mind for next year, that Saturday night did sell out. I would assume that Friday night was close to selling out also.
Is it something you have to get tickets ahead of time, or can you get tickets
would.
at the door? Is it possible, though?
We bought tickets at the door.
Okay.
I actually bought tickets. It's like Brown Paper Tickets is the site you do it through. And we did will call for a couple of them, but I did it on Thursday for Friday night. So
There were people who were obviously staying at the Swan Dolphin. I heard them asking people, "What is this about?"
Yes.
They would get off the boats and go, "What the heck is going on?" And they were able to participate in the event Friday night.
wow.
So they were taking last minute entries.
the only irksome thing that I can see is that all of this is included in the price, but bottled water or any kind of water and any kind of soft drink you have to pay for.
The water thing's annoying.
It was like
Yeah.
$2 a bottle, so it winds up
Do
being.
you think people would grab the bottles and bring them up to their room and
Well,
start stockpiling like
someone
there's a
was-
shortage?
People will do things even when you don't think they will. They do. But they were explaining. Someone talked to one of the managers and complained that a Diet Coke was, what was it, $2 or $3?
$2.
$2.
Yeah. Post tax.
And he said that in years past they gave out cans of diet soda or regular soda, and that the cost was $11,000 a night for the soda.
Wow.
We explained them that they should have gone to BJ's and bought them by the case.
Shasta Cola.
That's right. But
Shasta fan.
I think if you're paying $80, and especially for someone who really doesn't drink wine at all, I had a couple of sips of different kinds. I think throwing in a couple of Diet Cokes wouldn't kill you.
Right.
And especially for the water thing, I mean, if people are drinking all that wine and beer, it'd be smart to have some kind of water cooler, just like cups
Now,
of
every
water.
place that you went did have carafes of water. On even the wine booth had
Oh,
carafes.
okay, good.
However, it was
Tap water.
88 degrees outside
It was.
Friday night,
But it's at least water there to.
and it's warm.
yeah.
So
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Kevin. Appreciate that. Sean.
Oh, okay. My rapid fire is about the glow with the show ears that have come to Walt Disney World.
Yay.
Craig and I went to both the Fantasmic and Wishes Celebrate the Magic that they had last week. And so basically what they are, they're the glow with the show ears, and they debuted in Disneyland, I think, last year.
Yeah, me and Corey were actually there for the very first
was like last
performance
spring,
of that.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically they're these ears. They're $25, and they have 3 AAA batteries in them, and they have an RFID sensor, and they will light up and interact with the stuff that's happening either in the fireworks or World of Color, whatever
Right.
entertainment that they're being used at. And so I like the ears. I think they're a little pricey. I think a lot of people are shocked by the price.
Yeah, that's one of the big questions on Facebook. A lot of people, well, how much
Everyone
are
wants
they?
to know.
Oh, I can spend
Yeah.
my money on something else. Because you're a family of 4.
That's $100.
$100.
Yeah.
So they're $25 each.
Not only that, but think about the kid who they don't know about it, and all of a sudden everybody else has got these on, and the kid starts screaming, "I want an ear! I want an ear!"
I think
I'm
that's
sure
that's
Disney
just
marketing
Disney.
knows.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing I always thought about this is with as far as glow with the show, and especially not just the ears, but once you see them with one of the performances, like the fireworks or World of Color or something like that. You're not actually enjoying your ears. You're enjoying the ears of everyone else around you.
Which I like, because then someone else is enjoying your ears behind you. Yeah.
So it makes a huge difference if more people in the crowd have the
Exactly.
ears than less.
I don't know how well they're going to catch on here, only because it seems like most people at Walt Disney World are tourists. You know, they're coming in on vacation.
Right.
So to carry these with you back on another trip is going to be difficult because these don't fold.
They don't
like
fold.
other ears. These are pretty
they're
hefty.
pretty
they're
heavy
solid.
to wear all day too, especially in
Yeah.
the Florida
You
heat.
got the batteries on top of your
This
head.
isn't actually the first time they've done this with something that was that you could participate in the show. During the height of pin trading, they sold a pin for each of the parks that was the fairly good sized pin. I'd guess 3 or 4 inches tall and 3 or 4 inches wide, and you were supposed to wear them during the parade or in the shows, and they were going to interact with the parade and the shows. The problem was if you pinned them to your clothes, your shirt kind of pulled down around your
You had big holes in your
right,
shirt.
and you had big holes in your
So
shirt.
what exactly happens to the ears when the show goes off?
It's different for everyone. So they kind of theme it to whatever's happening. So the ears change colors, and then the rhythm, kind of like the pattern that they light up in, changes.
Like if there's a fire scene on the castle, all the ears will turn red.
Exactly.
That must be
And they'll kind of-
awesome if you're back in the crowd
Yeah.
and you see this
Right.
sea of
Yeah.
ears. That must be really cool.
I think it worked the best with Wishes so far. And then I think second was probably Phantasmic, just because it was nice to kind of see it works well with the fountains. It reminded me
Right.
of World of Color. Celebrate the Magic was okay. It wasn't as great.
Well, one thing with Celebrate the Magic is that we went on premiere night, and then we also went last night. On premiere night, the RFID sensor stopped working for the last 5 minutes of the show, so the ears just remained black. And then last night, like we expected, probably only 100 people had the ears,
Yeah.
and that was spread all throughout Main Street. So you lose that effect. If you don't have a good size of people right in the middle who have them, then it's just like random ears lighting up all over the place.
And you're buying these for everyone else's amusement.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you don't see your own ears.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, but the more people that think
Right.
like that and just go ahead and buy it, then
Exactly.
the better the experience.
And they're bringing it to other things. I have a feeling they'll bring it to Illuminations. I don't think they've announced that yet, but they're bringing it to Osborne Christmas lights, which I think is going to be fantastic.
They've actually ripped up like the cement in the ground of Streets of America and thrown all the RFID.
Is that how they're doing it? It's on the ground rather than up above.
This is what somebody I know that works over in that area told me. They closed for I don't know how long, but they ripped up the concrete.
So they're putting the sensors down below.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
below you. At least for that,
Sure.
They can't rip up Main Street.
Main Street's gone.
Yeah.
well, there's still sensors in the ground from parades and stuff, so they could probably
Integrate it with that. Yeah.
They should add it to Space Mountain.
I think when that rolls around, when Osborne Spectacle of Lights rolls around, I think that could be absolutely perfect.
I just hope it's not the last year for Osborne. But
I think that's what
It's
we're
funny, I
hearing.
heard that just recently.
it's a rumor, but yeah.
I think Corey's right. I think you could put this in anything. You could put it in shows. You could put it in rides.
Be a little
I worry about
distracting
rides. I
and-
wouldn't put it on Space Mountain because it would fall off someone's head
joking,
and
but-
someone would lose an eye.
and it would be distracting in Hall of
These light
Presidents.
streams going around.
All the presidents.
That would be a little distracting.
4 and 7 year olds.
I like how Sean went right to someone who'll lose an eye.
On Space Mountain, of course someone would.
Tower of Terror.
So as of right now, your top 3 lists, it's the Wishes.
Those are only 3 so far.
Right.
But if I had to order them, I'd go with Wishes Phantasmic then Celebrate. And
Someone just posted in our chat room that they've had them at Disneyland for a while right now, and
Right.
it's fairly rare to see them.
yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's an undertaking to bring these with you. I mean, even I'm local, and so these are my pair from Disneyland. So
Oh, so they worked here.
they do.
Did you change the battery? My battery's dead.
I had to. Yeah.
Me and Corey and Tom Bell got really lucky for when we were previewing Cars Land and Buena Vista Street. They literally handed these hats out to every single person in the crowd for World of Color one night. And actually, I had gone back to the room to like edit a video, and Corey calls me, "You got to get back here, man! Hurry!" We didn't know they were going to do it, and it turned out to be one of the best shows I've ever seen.
If
in
they
my life.
start doing something like you get a set with a dinner package for Phantasmic, or if they include it in some kind of package,
That would be a good
idea.
More people would wear them and have them.
Absolutely.
And- or maybe even do some kind of like renting thing. That's kind of weird, but just the more people that
Get
have
a
them,
stroller, you get some ears.
$50
For the
deposit.
cost of those strollers, they
spray them
should.
like bowling shoes.
I see them like a secondhand market on eBay now. People like selling them on eBay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Well, thank you, Sean. Appreciate that. Corey, what do you have for us?
There's a new water thrill ride coming to Orlando. Aquatica launched a sneak peek at a new water ride they're doing. They say it's going to be the tallest water thrill slide of its kind in Orlando. So it looks like they're going after Summit Plummet at Blizzard Beach. The video is a short video. It's just a person standing like laying on the slide, and then sounds like something drops out from underneath them. So a little bit of the aqua dunk going on, I think. So it should be pretty interesting.
Taller than Summit Plummet.
Summit Plummet's 120 feet tall. So if they go taller than that, it should be interesting.
I did.
I
That
mean, it says
once.
it's the tallest water thrill slide of its type in Orlando. So maybe there's a little underlying thing.
You've done it once and you're still recovering from the wedgie.
I really am.
Yeah.
It took a lot to get me up there and do that.
I did Summit Plummet once, and when you come and you flatten out and the water sprays up, I washed out children. The wave went into the parking lot. Mommy!
I've seen some sights.
So this is for Aquatica. Any idea of a release date?
No,
yet?
I just received this in my email this morning.
Okay.
So it should be interesting. There's a video, and the hashtag that they're using for this nothing #nothingtaller.
Okay.
Wow.
I know.
That's
see.
bold. That's bold.
See, but at Blizzard Beach, Summit Plummet's so tall, but it's built on a mountain. I don't know how they're gonna. And there's a chairlift you can take up to
Right.
it. It should be interesting to see how they pull this off.
It's nothing
just
like
going to be
going-
like a frame with a tall slide on
I
it.
hate going to water parks and you just have to zigzag up a giant frame to a water slide.
That's Wet and Wild. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And you can see people doing it from, International Drive.
So it should be interesting.
Cool. Well, we'll keep an eye out for any more details for Nothing Taller.
Nothing taller.
All right. Well, thank you, Corey. Craig, what do you have?
Okay, so the Mickey Mouse that's at Town Square, he is now Magician Mickey, and you can meet him. And the special thing is he's talking to guests now. So, like the character heads that you see at the whatever the castle show is
They do the
called
castle,
now. Yeah, whatever that's called. The same character heads that they've been using for all that stuff now is being integrated with the Mickey meet and greet.
Now, what he means by that is the Mickey Mouse, the Donald, the Goofy that can actually move their mouths.
They have the articulated heads and
Along.
eyes and mouths. So
Of course, yeah, and they can blink as well. Of course, in the shows, everything is pre-recorded dialogue. Now, this is supposed to be a little bit different, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure how the technology works since I don't work there, but basically he'll have different interactions with guests. Disney Parks blog put up a video yesterday morning showing what it was like, and he was doing card tricks with guests. Just a
was
bunch
playing
of
three-card
cool
money.
stuff. I mean, but yeah, I didn't get a chance to look at it last night.
Swindler Mickey. Mickey the Grifter.
Cardboard box with 3 cards, and it's only $25 to talk to him.
So in your email saying you were going to talk about this, you used the words creepy.
Yeah,
Creepy
Creepy Mickey
Creepy?
debuts at Magic Kingdom.
I think he's really creepy.
all the reviews I hear, they say he's extremely talkative. Like they can't shut him up.
He's like that pal Mickey they used to have.
Videos of people just walking away.
He's not even clocked in. He's walking backstage. He's like, hey, pal. Yeah.
Where you going?
You want to get lunch?
Pick a card, any card.
Yeah, but we'll. I'm going back tomorrow morning, so hopefully we'll get some video. See,
When you go over there, I'd like to see if there's any kind of integration with like the Magic Bands or anything like that.
well,
I'd be interested to see.
That's coming next. Like they
Yeah.
said months ago that you were going to have your Magic Band on, and then RFID readers would pick up your name, and then he'd be able to start saying your name.
How was lunch?
He knows your social security card, your number,
Here comes the mark.
signs you up for credit cards.
I know where you go to school.
I'm gonna make fake names just for that, like Poop Face McGee. Oh hi. Something silly, like a prankster. Well, that was interesting.
Yep, that was
Cool.
Cool.
Well, thank you, Craig, for the final rapid fire, and thank you guys for a great show today. We are going to wrap it up right now for this segment. Again, we hope you stick around for our next segment. We have Drinks Around the World, and that's for Yacht Club, Beach Club, and Swan and Dolphin. So for those of you live, just stick around. We'll have that after a nice short break. So again, we hope you have a wonderful week, and thanks for watching the Diz Unplugged.